What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL, and welcome back to another NFL DFS video with your boy. Drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment anything in the comment section and enter your name into the $50 giveaway that I do every single week on this channel. As you can see, I am on the Greenlight DFS Optimizer. That's what you're looking at right now. I'm on the lineup builder portion so we can put together a first look lineup. Last week's first look lineup ended up in the cash money. We smashed week one at Greenlight DFS. If you haven't tried out Greenlight DFS before for all of our DFS content, for our optimal lineups and stuff for Draftkings and FanDuel and all that good stuff, make sure you don't miss out on week two. We had members cash in over 10 grand, one of them over 12 grand. It was a solid week one. Just looking to keep that momentum going, man, into week two. So, in this video, as you guys know, early in the week, we do a first look lineup build where we pretty much just talk about the people that we're putting in the first look lineup. We don't go too in depth with the slate. This is just kind of to get you a first look in the slate and kind of what's looking good. You know what I mean? So, let's go over my first look lineup and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. All right? So, at quarterback, one spot that I really like this week is going to be Trevor Lawrence, man. Trevor Lawrence just has a plethora of weapons in this offense. We saw ETN shine big for Jacksonville. Calvin Ridley was an absolute monster for Jacksonville. Expected, like I said in the video of week one, I expect a big year out of Calvin Ridley this year. And I really love the Trevor Lawrence Calvin Ridley pairing in this amazing matchup for these guys against Kansas City, who Jacksonville is expected to be down. So it's a great spot here for Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley pairing to work out perfectly. All right, so I really like that Jacksonville Kansas City game. I really like Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley through the air against Kansas City. They're underdogs, so definitely should be a throw heavy game script. Just really love that spot. And I really love running it back with Travis Kelce. Obviously, make sure Kelce is okay and in the lineup. I have no projection for him at the moment because we don't know 100% yet, but I'm leaning that he plays. Okay, they're leaning that he's going to be playing this week, so we will see. But this is a great matchup against Jacksonville, running that back. Okay, love Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley. Get you a cheaper, like kind of a nice little, because I don't, outside of Travis Kelce, I don't really trust anyone on Kansas City. Mahomes spreads the ball around outside of Kelce. So if I go Patrick Mahomes, I'd probably run him solo, running him back with a Ridley or Zay Jones or somebody from Jacksonville. But I really like the Trevor Lawrence Calvin Ridley pairing because you know that Calvin Ridley's that number one. And I just love that pairing of them two. And then running it back with Kelce just feels really good to me this week. All right, let's look at running back. When it comes to running back, one guy that looked great week one and looks like he's going to have a heavy workload in this offense is Rashad White. Rashad White looked fantastic for Tampa Bay in this game against Minnesota. I mean, he wasn't great. Okay, I mean, I get it, only 39 yards. I don't mean fantastic meaning he went crazy. I mean fantastic in his carry amount and the usage that he's going to get in this offense. And this is a great matchup here against Chicago in a spot where Tampa Bay is favored at home in Tampa Bay. Great spot for Rashad White to get back to it. What is impressive to me is the 17 carries he had in this offense. He had 2 targets in the past game. He didn't do much with his carries, but he got 17 carries. It's all about opportunity. And I love the opportunity for Rashad White at 5'5", going against Chicago in a favored spot. Expect another 17 to 20 carries out of Rashad White, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him finally get into the end zone in this one and have a solid game. So, yeah, by doing amazing and looking amazing, I don't mean that he was great. I mean the opportunity is amazing. All right, so let me clarify that. He didn't have an amazing week one, but the opportunity was amazing. 17 carries is fantastic to see. So he's obviously the number one go-to guy for Tampa Bay, and they're favored in this game against Chicago. So solid spot for him. And then the next guy is Damien Pierce. This is another guy who just gets a solid workload in this offense, okay? And is against the Colts, not only does he run some routes and get involved in the pass game, but he gets a good solid amount of carries. Week one, they got blown out by Baltimore. There's not a ton of running in there, and he still got 11 carries in an absolute blowout against Baltimore. Okay? If the game is closer, which this one's expected to be, Damien Pierce could see 17 to 20 like Rashad White will. He's going to get heavy workload there. You could see some dump offs to him in the pass game as well. He got 3 targets week 1. He's a guy that runs a good bit of routes as well, and Houston targets their running back. So solid spot for Damien Pierce. I think at that price as well, he's a solid option. Kind of gets you, allows you to get that spend up of Calvin Ridley, Travis Kelce, and kind of get mid-range running backs. There's multiple mid-range running backs, and we'll talk about them when we do the final look later on in the week when we go position by position and break it down fully. But as of right now, we're just going to talk about the lineup. Now, we need some value, right? First value that I'm going to rock with is going to be at wide receiver Nico Collins. All right, Nico Collins in playing from behind script here. That's another reason I like Damien Pierce. I think he gets involved heavily in this pass game, or solid at least in this pass game, playing from behind in this spot, if it in fact does go that way. Nico Collins got 11 targets in week 1. Once again, they're playing from behind. I'm looking for another healthy dosage of targets to Nico Collins for Houston. Obviously, he was looked at heavily. Great spot for him in this one. Really love him. When it comes to value, there's a solid team total on this slate, but yet we can get a solid piece of it with Josh Reynolds at 3.7. Now, Detroit is favored, so it might not necessarily be the most pass-heavy script for Detroit, but Josh Reynolds had some solid usage in this Detroit offense, getting 7 targets. 4 catches for 80 yards. He had some solid usage at only 3.7. For a guy at only 3.7, we don't need a ton out of him, and he looked great and had some solid usage week 1. So yeah, I definitely like this spot against Seattle for Josh Reynolds, and it just makes things work, man. It's a value play that just makes things work. Another guy that kind of goes with the flow of what we're doing here, our build, is Zay Jones paired up with the Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence, running it back with Travis Kelce. It just makes complete sense. I kind of landed on that spot. As you guys know, the defense, we're working to get it fixed, but when it comes to getting a defense actually into the lineup builder, for some reason it won't click in, as you can see, but that's all good. The Cowboys defense is what I want here. Aaron Rodgers unfortunately got hurt in the first 4 plays of the game and will be out with a torn Achilles. So he's out for the whole season. They're back to Zach Wilson. The Cowboys defense against Zach Wilson is going to absolutely destroy him. All right, there's no doubt at all. Cowboys defense is going to destroy him. They have a high possibility of scoring some defensive touchdowns. They just looked fantastic against the Giants, man. It was, oh my goodness. And so, yeah, this matchup here for them is fantastic. At home in Dallas as well. It's just a great spot, and I land on that 4K range. Okay? So, yeah, Cowboys D, 49ers D is also fine against that sorry Rams team. But, yeah, Cowboys defense there is the last play that we're going to go with. All right? And like I said, with Zay Jones, I landed on that price range, and it just fits the correlation of the lineup. So, let's go over it. Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones. Love Jacksonville playing from behind against Kansas City this week. Great spot for them. I believe they're at home in Jacksonville as well. So great spot for them. Running it back with Travis Kelce on the other side. Make sure Kelce plays, obviously. But if Travis Kelce is active, I'm expecting them to heavily use him. I mean, Mahomes was struggling to find guys last week. Guys not catching the ball and just struggling. So expect Travis Kelce to get a huge dose for his first week back. But make sure he is good to go and he's 100%. He's going to get his normal workload, or you're not going to want him, obviously. And then it kind of puts a damper on the whole stack because it's like outside of Patrick Mahomes, who would you take? Like nobody's very trustworthy on that Kansas City offense the way it looked. So outside of Travis Kelce, it makes it tough. But yeah, love him. Rashad White and Damien Pierce. I mean, there's other options that you could go with, sure, but I'm going off opportunity here. Damien Pierce is a guy who gets heavily involved in that offense. In a solid spot for him. And Rashad White in a favored game for Tampa Bay got 17 carries week 1, expecting heavy dosage once again of Rashad White. And if he gets in the end zone, it's a much different story than what happened week 1, where he didn't do a lot with his carries. But at the end of the day, we're all about opportunity. And this is a good matchup for him here. Really good spot for him. All right, so Rashad White there. Nico Collins and Josh Reynolds. Nico Collins got a heavy dosage of targets for Houston in this one, and they're from behind. They're going to be playing catch up against the Colts most likely, in a dome. So solid spot for Nico Collins to get heavy usage again, playing from behind. Expect a solid game out of him. Josh Reynolds is another guy that I have some interest in. I believe they're at home as well in Detroit. So at home in a dome for Josh Reynolds as well. High total for a guy who got good involvement in that offense, and he's only 3-7, so he kind of just makes things work. And then last but not least, the Cowboys defense is supposed to be here. For some reason, our lineup builder doesn't like to lock defenses in. If you do the lineup optimizer, it will optimize a defense in, but for some reason on the lineup builder, it doesn't want to do it. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me for the first look lineup. Let me know your ideas for this week, man. Week 2 is going to be a banger. If you haven't joined up yet, hit up greenlightdfs.com to join up for week 2, and let's get this money, baby. Thank you guys for joining me as always, and let's get it. I'm out.